What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined by my dad, Sean. And today at Reactions to the Classics, we are trekking along in our series, ranking every song on every Beatles record from worst to best here. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are up to Magical Mystery Tour, one of my favorite Beatles albums. I'm excited to get diving in and discussing some absolutely legendary tunes on here.
I agree 100%, Trey. It's been a fun ride so far. Now, I do got to give a disclaimer at the start because Trey and I are huge on we only do UK Beatles albums. We don't recognize anything else, except we're going to break our own rule on this one. We did when we did the album rankings for the Beatles as well. We reviewed this thing. So what you got here is released in late 1967, November in the US, December in the UK. In the UK, there were 6 new songs for this. So it wouldn't all fit on an EP. EPs were popular in UK at the time, not in the US. So they did an innovative thing, do a double EP release. But the US is like, what do we want to do? Well, we want to screw up this album because that's what we do with all the other ones. If you're capital in the US, but they actually made this one good because the first side of it has the songs that are in the movie. The second side are the singles that were released in 1967, and that's what makes this thing so legendary to us. Spent 8 weeks at number 1, and it sold $8 million worth of albums initially in the US, which was an all-time record at the time in the first 3 weeks. So you take all that together, you know, the project itself, Trey, the movie itself, you know, it was originally designed as a TV special. The movie itself is rough.
Yeah.
You know, but it was influenced, you know, during this time, there's a lot of stuff going on. Brian Epstein tragically dies, and it kind of pushed this project to the forefront. I don't think there was probably anybody telling Paul, because Paul's the one that went to do it, dude, this probably isn't a good idea. So Paul pushes it, and that's kind of how we end up with this album. But man, this thing is quite good. Well, let's jump into this. Only 11 tracks. Number 11 was easy. It's Flying.
Yeah, that was my number 11 as well. You have the Mellotron in here, you know, a cool little psychedelic progression, but, you know, it's just a little over 2 minutes. All 4 of them, I believe, are credited as, you know, being, you know, on the track. It's one of the rare...
Songwriter, yeah, one of the rare things, exactly. And first instrumental since 1965, and, you know, kind of has that 12 bars blues sort of format as well. But, yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, I think for most people it will be, you know, at the bottom, but still a neat little instrumental and fits the musical themes of the record. But my number 10 is going to be, and I gotta say, from 10 on down, I really enjoy all these tracks.
I agree 100%, man.
Doing this exercise really showed how quality this record is, because I got a track like Your Mother Should Know coming in at number 10. Obviously quite catchy. The reason I just had to put it at the bottom compared to some of these other tracks, lyrically, it is a bit weak, I guess you could say.
That's my number 10 as well, and I felt the same thing as I looked, as I was listening in and kept ranking, and I'm finally like, wow, Your Mother Should Know is next to last, really? Because I really like that song, but the name of it is taken off of a line from A Taste of Honey, which, Trey, you and I have quite a history with The Taste of Honey. We hate that song, but that's for another review at another time. Paul wrote it at his house while a bunch of family were over, and he felt inspired.
Yeah, and it is in that music hall type of style as well. 64, I mean, but better. The piano is obviously the highlight, and that'll go up to number 9.
My number 9 is Blue Jay Way, which I know a lot of people don't like. I actually really like it, but as we said on the previous song, it's tough to get up the ladder on this one. The story behind this is as good as the song, right? George travels with Patty to Los Angeles with a few of their publicists to go meet with Derek Taylor, who used to be with the Beatles, now he's with the Beach Boys as a publicist. But the trip's important because this is a trip where they go to Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco. And, you know, George is expecting to see all these enlightened people with all this creativity. He goes there and he just kind of sees a bunch of screw-ups. Sorry if you're in Haight-Ashbury in summer of 67. He sees this. He's so dejected. He goes back and tells John when he gets home, dude, this whole drug thing and LSD thing, thought those people were going to be on LSD and what? Man, it's going downhill. So then him and John actually make a public statement denouncing LSD and the drugs. And it was all because of this trip that created Blue Jay Way. The song itself, they're just waiting for Derek he's waiting for Derek to get to the house that he's staying on. And it's getting late, and he says he's getting tired. There's a Hammond organ over in the corner of the house that they're staying. So he just starts writing this song. It's just a quick little song about, you know, don't be long.
Don't be long.
So I like it a lot.
No, I do too. I just got a 1 spot higher at my 8, so I'll touch on it now. You add in some backwards instrumentation, which further kind of accentuates the psychedelic nature of the song, and even a cello in for good measure. And man, you just got a slow burning, I think, great psychedelic track.
Yeah, and besides I Am the Walrus, it probably has the most psychedelic sound, and Strawberry Fields, of course, but it might have even more psychedelic. The reason why is they used 3 different techniques that were pretty cutting edge at the time. Flanging, an audio delay effect, sound signal rotation via the Leslie speaker, and reverse through tapes. Together with the pedal drone supplied by the keyboard parts, the various sound treatments reinforce a sense of dislocation evident in the song, and I think that's what gives it that unique sound to it. That as soon as you hear it, I'm like, yeah, man.
And you could argue it goes on maybe a minute too long or so, but even so, man, I don't mind.
So my number 9, your number 8.
Yeah, and so now my number 9 is going to be Magical Mystery Tour,
which is my number 8. So go ahead.
Oh, there you go. The title track, the opener to this, a bit reminiscent to the opener of Sgt. Pepper's, where you feel like, okay, this is a roaring introduction into something big. It's a fun little Lennon and McCartney dual track here. In the middle, we kind of highlight the bass and go a little slow down, a haziness, and obviously you got the roaring and triumphant horn section, the trumpets going in, man. So I enjoy this.
Yeah, I put horns and keys are the highlight for me. It's a fun little song. Get a drug reference in there, and Paul even laughed about it later on. I said, "We always managed to get that in there so our friends will hear it." But yeah, it's fine for me. It's not as fun as Sgt. Pepper's, to open up that album, but it does its job, brings a smile to my face. And at my number 7, I have Baby You're a Rich Man.
I got that at 6.
Such a good song. I can't believe I have it. It's a very underrated. It only went to 34 in the U.S. Developed from an unfinished song that John did. And John went to this event, and then he comes back, and he writes this song going after the beautiful people. Statement on the song was, look, man, we're all rich. This is what's called a claveline, which is a monophonic keyboard instrument that was the forerunner to the synth. Lennon played it on its oboe setting, creating a sound that suggests Indian instrumentation, which is actually not on here, but it seems like it is. So I thought that was definitely an interesting fact. Just showing these guys are going, yeah, bring me an instrument, I'll use it.
I think this is used very well at the end of The Social Network as well.
That's right.
Beatles tracks don't usually pop up in movies just due to how expensive it is, I guess, to license out. But
the chorus is just so banging, man.
No, man, and that's the reason I enjoy it so much, and it's it's kind of that high for me at number 6 because it's just a roaring track. I think this record is a definite step up for John. Compared to Sgt. Pepper's.
I do too.
You got that passion flowing through him. Another strong rhythm section to boot. So I'm with you, Dad. Very strong song.
Yeah, and it was actually recorded at Olympic Studios. I forgot to mention that. It was a 6-hour recording session. The first song to be done start to finish somewhere other than at Abbey Road or EMI Studios at the time. And for some reason, Mick Jagger was there and just watched the whole thing. So there we go.
Shout out,
Mick.
Well, my number 7 is gonna be another classic, popular Beatles track, "Hello, Goodbye," and this one, it's just so weak lyrically that it places this low, but
I knew you were going to do this. Not that it's low.
It's catchy as hell, though, man. It really is. It's so catchy that I couldn't put him at like the bottom or what have you. I also enjoy the driving tempo and overall charm that the song has, with John's backing vocals being a bit dreamy as well. You also have the booming drumming by Ringo in the coda, which is, I think, also a bit notable.
It's an incredibly popular tune. First single released after Epstein's death, went to number 1 all over the world, US, UK, Australia, everywhere. The way it happened is, Paul said it's an exercise in duality. So Alistair Taylor was there, and he's asking Alistair, I'm going to say a word, you say an opposite word. And that's how he writes this thing. But where this song is a little bit famous is I Am the Walrus and This were the 2 things in contention for the A-side. John fought hard for I Am the Walrus. He finally relented because Paul and everyone was saying this is a more commercial song. But as John might have done from time to time, he had something to say in the 1980 interview about this song. He said, that's another McCartney. Smells a mile away, doesn't it? An attempt to write a single. It wasn't a great piece. But in Britain, within a day of its release, it sold over 300,000 copies, topped the chart for 7 weeks, giving them their longest run at number 1 since She Loves You in 1963. And I talked about it now, Trey, but I have it coming up later. I'll leave that as a mystery to where I have this coming up.
I like it. Well, I'm through my 7, as are you. My 6 was Baby You're a Rich Man. What about you?
My 6 was The Fool on the Hill. Once again, Alistair Taylor is going to pop up in this song because some people think it's about the Maharishi.
Yeah,
because he had this little giggle, and so detractors said he couldn't have been that smart of a guy. So Paul might have been right in showing, oh yeah, actually. But Alistair Taylor and Paul were walking, and encountered some guy on a hill and then he just disappeared, they thought. So they started talking about the existence of God. But John, in that same 1980 interview, said, that's quite a good tune. That's one of Paul's. Shows he can write a complete song if he wants to. So it's a compliment, but got McCartney on the penny whistle, and then Lennon's on an instrument called the Jew's harp, and I think it gives it that unique soundscape. So I really do enjoy it, and it's, the way it's arranged, it sticks in your head like crazy.
No, yeah, I just have it one spot higher at number 5. For me, I don't have much more to add. I think the flutes in particular give it a bit of that softness in there, and it's a song that, is a bit uplifting musically, and yet when you really dive down into the lyricism, talking about this dude that's just a straight up outcast, so that dissonance there, I think, is another reason that it places so high for me and reaches the top 5.
Right, my number 5 is something that I think a lot of people would probably have it 2, maybe. I've seen, a few people rank it number 1, but I have All You Need Is Love.
There you go.
It's the Beatles' entry into the Our World satellite broadcast, first satellite broadcast, 400 million people. If you're a Beatles fan, you're watching this, you've seen at least the pictures, if not the performance, and everybody's sitting around on the floor. Even got members of the Who and the Stones sitting there. They wanted to make it simplistic lyrically, so it kind of reminds me a little bit of Hello Goodbye on this album, being simplistic lyrically so people could follow along with it. John was very nervous about singing it, so they did 33 takes of kind of doing the background stuff that was on it, and John didn't like the final product, so he went back and fixed it. So what you hear on the album is a fixed version where he re-recorded the vocals with ADT and everything. I really like this song. I think it's really good. It's really catchy. It's simplistic. There's nothing wrong with being simplistic, but it's number 5, which is a high rating. It's in the top half for an album this good.
Yeah, and that's interesting you note that, because I do have it at 4, which is my next one up.
Yeah, we're barely one off on Hello Goodbye, threw it all off.
And another triumphant horn section in here, a rowdy ending, calling back Yesterday and She Loves You, I think are just awesome. Another song that's a bit weaker lyrically, but its catchiness more than makes up for it. A feel-good song, I think, if there ever was one.
And that was your 4? Mm-hmm. So my 4 is easy, because I've already talked about it. It's Hello Goodbye.
Ah, there you go.
That's why I have those 2 real close together. They're very similar in the fact that, they're an excellent... I think the melody and the instrumentation on Hello Goodbye is just absolutely fantastic.
No, it's catchy, man.
But the lyrics are simplistic, I know, but man, it's a very divisive song. Some people I've seen experts call it the greatest pop song ever. Pop, and other people kind of
deride it.
Over here. So it's 4 for me.
Well, that means we have the same 3, and I would assume we got them in the same order. But number 3, I got I Am the Walrus.
So do I.
All right, man. Well, this song is an absolute trip, and yet again showcases that Lennon was quite on fire, I think, throughout this entire record. Seems to be a bit of a musical sequel to me for being for the benefit of Mr. Kite. John's rapid-fire, suggestively nonsensical lyrics are oddly a bit enthralling. Can't help but want to sing along the good job type of thing.
Yeah, you do. And there's so much going on, like you said. I mean, there's every type of instrument on here. You got cello, you got all kinds of stuff on this thing. Martin got to go in the lab and really go to work. It's really 3 songs in one they combine, but the reason why it's so crazy is because a guy that used to be in the Quarrymen with him, Pete Shotton, came over to his house and was saying, hey man, they're breaking down your lyrics at your old primary school. And he's like, you know what? Let's see what
we're going to give him something to talk about.
So
I am the Eggman.
I love it, man. That's John, man. So yeah, just so much going on. His vocals are so great. And it has a lot of similarities to a song that's going to come up for us both soon.
No, that's right.
His top entry on here. There are some similarities in the playing around with stuff. So both the same at 3. So number 2, I have Penny Lane. This was not a slam dunk for me. This was not a slam. I knew you would. And basically he wrote Penny Lane after John wrote Strawberry Fields Forever. Penny Lane was a place that they were both familiar with. There's a bus terminal. Paul said me and John used to go. There's about halfway between our houses. We'd meet there and use that place. But there's so much going on instrumentally that I think a lot of people don't catch of how intricate this song actually is. McCartney recorded keyboard parts on the individual tracks of the 4-track. A basic piano, a second piano recorded through a Vox guitar amplifier with added reverb, a piano producing a honky-tonk sound. They're mixed together to form one track. Further overdubs included Ringo's drums, McCartney's bass, Lennon's rhythm, hand claps. All this stuff is thrown together to just make a fantastic song. I love every bit of the song.
Oh, yeah.
And here's what I'm going to say. I told you this the other day. Because this was released with Strawberry Fields Forever, and that song is held in such high acclaim. I think it almost diminishes Penny Lane's, standing with a lot of Beatles fans and critics because
I'd
it was
agree.
on the same single, and it's like, oh, this is great. Well, this is great too. It might not be quite as great as this, but it's still great. But when you have only two things on something, that's what happens.
Comparison naturally comes
so
in.
it hurts it. But I think it's fantastic, and you could have argued that it was number one for me. I mean, it was that close for me.
No, man, I know you love this song,
I do.
as do I, and
I would listen to this over our number one. But
and I think that you noted it well. It seems every instrument's just meticulously placed, and it's just production perfection personified. And yet again, I enjoy the story that goes along with it, kind of following along. This paired with Strawberry Fields and that childhood, callbacks and nostalgia type of the themes that are going on are very well felt together. I think the piccolo trumpet solo might be my favorite bit of music in the entire track. Paul's delivery is dynamite and makes one think of their own Penny Lane, I guess you could say. Obviously, though, number one for both of us, Let Me Take You Down to Strawberry Fields, ladies and gentlemen. Top 5 Beatles track for me. It's one of those, I mean, this might be the best psychedelic-inspired song of all time, honestly.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right on it. It's right there.
The lyric, living is easy with eyes closed, misunderstanding all you see. One of my favorite lines in their catalog, and the instrumentation is just peak psychedelia. Makes me feel like I'm going to another world, which isn't something I think that's easily done just through sound and music. The reverse instrumentation, the fade in and fade out, the trippy coda, all make for a classic, and I could never tire from this song, I don't think.
Yeah, it's just fantastic, man. I mean, you kind of said it all there. The reason why, it's a famous song, and we talked about it in the Peppers, but it's the first song recorded for Peppers, and we talked about it in the Peppers rankings. Like, golly, man, this thing would have fit absolutely. It is the thing that would have fit the best on the Peppers album, and as always, the record company wanted a single, and Martin gave this to him and said it was his biggest mistake in all his production career is not putting this on Peppers, but that we get it here on Magical Mystery Tour, which I think helps elevate this album to the stratosphere. But it took 55 hours to record this, Trey. Like the most time they spent on any song up to this point. So, and he did that because they took all these takes. He liked take 7 and take 26. John did. The orchestral score was at a faster tempo and in a higher key B major than in the take 7, which was in an A major. Emmerich and Martin tell John, dude, we can't splice these together. And he goes, I know you guys will figure it out. So they had to sit there and they slowed one down. Emmerich slowed one down and sped one up. And that's why you get those crazy lyrics, those vocals that give it that otherworldly. That's why. Only because, and I mean, these guys didn't have sophisticated equipment. It's just that Emmerich and Martin were geniuses.
We're geniuses and able to make something of it.
Yeah, which kind of goes into the closing thoughts. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's why this song is so fantastic. The production on Penny Lane was fantastic. Just a great album. And I know both of us hold this in super, I like this better than the White Album. I know there's so many people that love the White Album, but just to give an example, it's very high on my Beatles ranking.
This is my favorite release from '67. The Beatles did. I like this more than Peppers, honestly.
I think I do too.
I think that there's really not a weak track on here.
No, there's not.
Even Flying.
Yeah, even Flying, and that's just on there because guys gotta remember it's a movie soundtrack. So yeah, it's.
But all in all, man, just an absolutely roaring record. And even if you threw out the singles that consist of side 2, those soundtrack songs are just so excellent.
Yeah, and I think it's an album if no one had ever listened to the Beatles, this is maybe the album I'd start with because it's got all kinds of stuff in there, right? You're going to get
I'd agree.
George's psychedelic stuff. Ringo doesn't have a track on there, but that's okay. And then obviously you have Strawberry Fields, a psychedelic, Penny Lane, perfectly constructed. You just kind of have everything. So
the catchy "Hello Goodbye" action.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I Am the Walrus action.
It's a really good starting point for somebody who never heard the Beatles, and so I love it, man.
What do you got on an album MVP? Because here I think I'm going John again.
I think I'm going back to John with a shout out to Martin and Emmerich.
Yeah, you're right.
I Am the Walrus and Strawberry Fields, which is part of the reason why you have John as the MVP. It couldn't happen without those guys. I think I'm going to go back with John again as well. But I'll tell you what now. John has my 1 and 3, and Paul has my 2 and 4.
No, it's a close one, man. It really is.
It's close. And you could flip both of Paul's tracks for me ahead of John's in the respective places. So, but yeah, I'm going to go with John.
Well, man, we'd love to hear from you guys
Definitely.
as well. Let us know your ranking of this record down below. Do you like this more than Peppers? Let us know that. Let us know any hot takes you might have. And as always, Dad, appreciate the research.
A lot of fun.
And we'll be back with the White Album next, so buckle up. Get ready for an epically long video for that.
And we actually reviewed this album, so check out the review. It'll be on the end screen in just a second. Go check out the actual review. You'll enjoy it.
All right, y'all. And until next time, thank you all so much for watching and supporting this series. It's been a blast and cannot wait to finish it out. And until next time, we will see you.